Does anyone know any jokes? How many performance artists does it take to change a light bulb?
Don't know. How many performance artists does it take to change a light bulb?
Dunno, I left.
Oh, so you guys are doing like a road trip? So
Yep. Okay.
Do you want to come and look at the camera? Do you know what? This is an actual film camera. So this is digital, but that's film, like real film. They have to roll it on. The old ones used to say that the camera steals your soul because nobody can die, you know.
Good job, Jesse, yes.
The problem is everything's just so beautiful and interesting. The zombie apocalypse is now. This is it. It's the same kind of environment everywhere, you know, bins and shit and big car parks and some nettles growing. Is that smooth FM?
Yeah.
It's not so smooth now, is it?
Not so smooth now.
Definitely looks like a storm's coming.
Your room key.
Can we pull over, maybe?
Wow. It's the Emerald City. It's very quiet. Very strange. And sort of beautiful. Do you know what happens if you make juice out of these?
What?
It's exactly like blood.
It looks more like a shipping container graveyard to me.
You know this is a working yard, right?
Not really.
It's a working yard. You can't just stand there taking pictures.
What's in all these?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. These shipping containers go all over the world, and whoever decides to pick them up, they'll put stuff in them.
okay, so
During
you're
the
not
pandemic, we
repairing.
were sending out reefers to go as temporary morgues.
Okay, I see.
You are going to have to move.
Yeah, okay, we'll get out of here. Thank you. The apocalypse is already here, it's just unevenly distributed. The thing is, in the Hollywood movie, apocalypse looks like the sublime comes knocking and takes the whole thing down, you know what I mean? It's also kind of the principle of nature itself, the oceanic. It's life, it's death, it's where we all came from. And of course, in this culture, it's the end of the world. Hiya.
You look like you're lost.
Yeah.
We don't really allow filming on the port because it's a restricted area. It's restricted because it's a goods area in ISPS.
Oh, it's good.
And everything, you know, like after the terrorist attacks, most ports then restricted area, you can't get in there without a valid pass, can't film it. You get a good vantage point of the port, of the ships on the quay.
The Loretta's that end, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the biggest ship.
MSC Loretta, that's the biggest ship in the world.
Oh, really?
At the moment, yeah. They change all the time.
The next one will come in next week, there'll be one extra container on it.
Big Loretta.
Big Loretta.
It's a bit brisk out here.
Started thinking at some point about my relationship to things and materials. I was a bit conflicted about it. There is a fact of something, a material fact, you know, like all those boxes. And they're huge and fucking heavy and made of steel. And they're full of everything that we need and use. I've made a lot of sculpture and very often using ready-mades and things like that. They've got their own backstories. The story of their coming into being, but the story of the manufacturer is a story about labour, but it's a story about materials. You know, like where does all the plastic come from? Where does the iron ore come from? Perhaps there is a sort of life in that backstory. From petrochemical substrates, the ancestors should have been left in the ground, but instead turned into plastic, which is this zombie, medium, undead, made to walk the earth forever, to the very limited life of its, let's say, household use. And that doesn't go back into the ground. It doesn't feed the cycle. It's just a cycle of never-ending, mounting death. But even so, maybe there's still something to think about as life in those things. Why can't it just be bumpy and weird? Everybody okay? Everybody feeling all right?
Yeah, I feel good. Jesse?
Yeah.
Where are we?
I actually won something on a scratch card. That's real luck.
So we've got no lights. It's very odd for both headlights to have gone. For fuck's sake, what the hell's going on there?
As filmmakers, do you think this has been a successful day or not? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, definitely would say so.
When I die, Lord, bury me deep at the end of Old Chestnut Street. Freight train, moving so fast. People say it's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. I think that the sort of visualization of how nature continues no matter what. It's growing wild.
Yeah.
And that in the end is just really hopeful. Like, yeah, awesome. And they won't know which way I've gone when I'm dead and laid in my grave. No more good times will I crave. I tell you what, I'll tell you a story. In 2012, I had something that the Shrinks will later talk about as a psychotic episode. I knew that I wasn't well, but I was in some way lucid. I wasn't like running, screaming down the road. I didn't think I was Jesus. But one of the things that I remember was that I went into a supermarket and I suddenly, without warning pretty much, saw, sensed, experienced the entire supply chain. Like, I was stood in the vegetable aisle, you know, the avocados, the peppers, the wrapped in plastic. I saw the containers, the vans, the pickers, the ships, the planes, the wrappers, the factory, the cashiers, the customers, the seeds, the pesticides, the workers, the land, the bloods, the plastic, all at once. And I just stood there completely transfixed on the spot, and I think I was just screaming with tears. So yeah, not very well. You can't live like that. It was the whole thing, all of the things that had to be in place to make something like that possible. And what I had in my head was, this can't last. I had this overwhelming sense of how fragile and precarious and kind of wild, like preposterous it was, utterly in excess of requirement and in excess of possibility, really.
My heart was literally leaping out of my body. It was just so exciting to be somewhere.
All this gypsum, resin, plastic, in order to create a world that feels wild. Talk about petro-colonial modernity. So look right. You can already see the dinosaurs over there. I would really like to bring you here one time. More entropy, more energy.
Murder weapons, stab wounds into the chest.
Actually, things are probably better, weirder, more interesting and complex than anyone thinks. That's the punchline. That's the cosmic punchline. I was talking to myself, so I thought I'd better record it. I'm on the bridge, looking at the very, very bright rainbow, which is reflected in all the windows and all the cars. The rainbow's pixels are such that even the really good cameras don't quite get the lightness. You know, that's what old Turner was trying to do the whole time in rendering the sky, and you could say he failed, but he created something to represent what there was, and then it was something else again. And what I wanted to show to you is how complicated things are and how connected things are and how wonderful and how terrible and how we make it and how the world makes it and how all that hangs together somehow. Anyway, that's all for now.